Hello, my name is Cheyenne Evans, and I'm going to be talking to you today about how to make a mapped outline using poster board and sticky notes. Um, Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a good idea of what a mapped outline is, and you'll have a good idea of how to make one. Now, I say you have a good idea of how to make one because there's no one way to make a mapped outline. These are only suggestions, and chances are when you go to make your own, you're probably going to do things differently. Um, Either way, I hope you walk away from this video having some good ideas for how to write better. So first I'm going to talk a little bit about what a mapped outline is, and then I'm going to go on and show you a step-by-step process of how to make one. A mapped outline is a pre-writing strategy, which means you do it before you start to write sentences for whatever it is you're writing. A mapped outline, exactly what it does is it organizes your ideas visually, so that way you can see your ideas and kind of move them around physically. It gives you a better way to work with them, especially if you're a visual learner like I am. Anybody can do this. I learned how to do this when I was in the 7th grade, and although I don't use it to write every single paper, I have used it ever since. I even used this to write my thesis, my senior thesis in college. So, little kids can do it and adults can use it. And you can use it to write anything. You can use it to write persuasive papers. You can use it to write stories, organize your ideas before you write a story. You can use it to think about what you're going to say before you write a letter to your auntie. I don't care, whatever it is. Today I'm going to use it to prepare for writing a 5-paragraph essay. But like I said, you can use this for any kind of writing. Any kind of pre-writing strategy, including what I'm about to show you, is super important to good writing because it organizes your ideas before you start to write. And it helps you avoid what's called word vomit, where you just kind of spill all of your ideas out onto the paper with no rhyme, no reason, no organization. And then when you do that, you have to go back, you have to reorganize, and you have to add ideas that were missing, and you have to take out things that aren't important. You have to do a lot more editing for grammar and spelling. You have to make sure that you're not plagiarizing, which when you kind of word vomit, you forget to put down your citations. So by having a pre-writing strategy, it avoids you having to do all of those things and waste a lot of time. And not only does it save time, but it also makes sure that you are writing well from the beginning, which means you're going to have a professional looking product at the end that you're proud to have written and that you're going to earn a good grade on. Basically, this strategy involves writing your notes and your ideas onto little pieces of paper, sticky notes, and then organizing them onto a poster board and being able to visually and physically work with those ideas as opposed to writing them all down on a paper and having to copy and paste and move them in a Word document. It works really well for those of you who are visual learners like I am, and it really helps me to be able to get my hands on the notes. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to make a mapped outline using sticky notes and a poster board. To make a mapped outline, you're going to need 4 things. The first step involves your notes. Now, because we're doing a research paper, I have my 4 sources. These are my sources. You can see that I've written in the margins, I've highlighted them, and I've taken all of my notes on sticky notes. 1 note per 1 stick. Also, it's important that you track your citations on each sticky note. And now that you have your notes, you're going to take all of your notes off of your sources. All right, now you have a pile of notes and you have a pile of sources. You're not going to need your sources anymore, so move those to the side. The next step is you're going to start piling your notes into little piles based on just whatever's similar. So you're going to say, ooh, this one's similar to that one, and that one's similar to this one. So you're just going to throw them into piles. You're going to kind of refine them later, so don't worry about it at first. Okay, So now I have my piles. I have 5 piles. I'm going to refine them later. My next step is to categorize my piles. As I categorize, I'm going to refine. So I'm going to go back through my piles. I'm going to look at them and say, this one doesn't really fit into that one. That one fits over here. I'm going to categorize them, and then I'm going to give them a name. So I'm going to write on another sticky. I'm going to say, look at all these ones. Well, these ones have to do with motorized bikes. So I'm going to write on my sticky. And I'm just going to give each pile a name. All right, here we go. Okay, so now I have my 4 categories and they're all named. The next step is I'm going to turn them into ideas. So I'm going to read through my stickies and I'm going to write down a coherent idea. So for instance, based on what I'm looking at, I'm getting the idea that bikes are actually pretty inexpensive. So I'm going to write my idea onto a sticky and I'm going to give all of my piles ideas. Here we go. Okay, so now each of my piles has an idea and it has notes, pieces of evidence that support the idea. Now, if I'm going to look at these 4 things, motorized bikes are better than pedal bikes, bikes are inexpensive, bikes are good for your health, bikes are better than cars, I'm going to try and start to write my thesis. And I have my 4 ideas to support that. But looking at this, motorized bikes are better than pedal bikes. I don't think that one really belongs, so I'm going to toss it out. This is actually a really important step of the process. It's really important to cut out information that doesn't matter, because I hate it when I'm reading a paper and the author says something like, yeah, so what? What does that have to do with your point? So if this doesn't have to do with my thesis, then I'm just going to toss it out. And then I'm going to work on my thesis later. But you're going to write your thesis on the right side of your poster board. And then the next step is you're going to put your idea stickies up here with the supporting evidence below, creating 3 different columns. Are you ready? Okay, so now I have my thesis, my 3 supporting ideas, and my pieces of evidence that support each of my ideas. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to start to organize the evidence. So I'm going to look at bikes are good for your health. Well, riding your bike reduces heart attack, helps you lose weight. Those really don't have an order to go in. But this one says anyone can learn how to work on and fix a bike. And I'm going to put that next to the toolkit sticky because they kind of have something to do together. All right, so start reorganizing. The next step is you're going to draw some arrows. This is going to help you visually organize your ideas. So I know that my paper is working this way and that my ideas are going to work in this direction. So now I have a visually mapped outline of what my paper is going to say. Now I'm going to use this outline. I'm going to work on my thesis. I'm going to continue to work on my thesis. I'm going to continue to work on my ideas. I'm going to start to develop my conclusion right here on this outline. And once I have everything in a solid draft form, I'm going to move it over to a proper draft, which I can then use to form coherent sentences and begin to write my paper. Hopefully now you've learned how to make a mapped outline using sticky notes and a poster board, or at least you have some ideas which are going to help you in your writing. Good luck.